Freaky. It's Freaky. Saw Freaky in the movie theater. Okay? And it's an interesting horror film, horror/comedy movie. And we're going to talk about it right here on Horror and Coffee. Stick around. If you like what you see here, please consider subscribing. Tap on that bell for future notifications for future Horror and Coffee content. Get ready, ladies and gentlemen. We are nearing the end of 2020. Hopefully 2021 will be a better year, a year of freedom, just better overall, right? Because I'm sick of this mask. Are you? I am. All right, I went to the a theater in New Jersey because they still have a couple of theaters open in New Jersey. Nothing here in New York is open. And I saw Freaky with Vince Vaughn and Kathryn Newton, directed by Christopher Landon. Trivia: Christopher Landon is the son of Michael Landon, famous 70s and 80s star, for those of you who are old enough to remember him. Here's the plot. I walked into, I said, you know what, this is one of these movie theaters, this is a cool movie theater, and what I like about them in my experience, to let you know so far, is that they're kind of empty for the most part. People are really not going to the theaters, and that's making the movie theater industry suffer a little bit. And, now with the announcement that Warner Brothers is releasing all of its movies on HBO Max on the same date as an actual theatrical release, there are certain movies that I don't know. I think I might do a little video about that, because I think this is something that's an attention getter here. But I digress. Freaky is, first of all, a weird title for a horror film. I don't know if I would have called it that. It sounds weird to me, but then again, the movie itself is weird. What's the plot? Well, the plot is a serial killer. It's like a serial killer that's out killing teenagers, and one particular teenager who's kind of like a introverted outcast amongst other introverted outcasts in her school gets targeted by this serial killer. The serial killer, from his last conquest earlier in the film, took a dagger from the last place he killed people in. And the dagger is an ancient Mayan or Aztec, I forgot which one, dagger, somewhere down south. And apparently it was used for human sacrifices. Now, what it also did is it had this magical power, okay, where it would switch souls. It would switch souls with the bodies. In Freaky, when the serial killer, played by Vince Vaughn, right, attacks this young girl, which is played by Kathryn Newton, they struggle. He stabs her like over here in the shoulder area with the knife, and when that happens, the souls switched. Okay, and all of a sudden they go to sleep. They go to bed. They go to bed, and what happens is the next day they realize they're in another person's body, right? Like the girl, she's inside. The girl realizes that she's inside the serial killer's body. So he wakes. She. It's hard to say. Wakes up in wherever the serial killer was sleeping at, and the serial killer wakes up wherever the girl was sleeping at, which was at her house with mom and sis and everything. And both it's very funny because you see Vince Vaughn, his character, how he tries to portray a young 16-year-old or 17-year-old trying to convince her friends that it's really her and not the evil serial killer that's been all over the news, that everybody's running away from, right? So there's a chasing scene where the girl's trying to, through Vince Vaughn, is trying to convince her friends, hey, it's me. Very hilarious. If you saw Happy Death Day, it's kind of like along the same lines of that same kind of feel. It's supposed to be horror, but at the same time, it's definitely comedic. Like, it's funny. All right. One thing I really appreciated about this movie, though, was that the gore, the kills in this movie was like, holy God, I haven't seen those kind of kills in years. We're talking about years since I'm gonna put it out there. Screw it. I would dare say I haven't seen those kind of kills since the Friday the 13th era, for real. Like I was like, wow. Like I saw stuff there that would make Jason go, dag, I gotta do that. It's really, it was great, and I thought the kills were spot on, and I liked how you saw the disadvantage the serial killer had when he was trapped in the girl's body, because the strength of a giant deranged serial killer was lacking, right? So that served as an advantage for the girl the girl's soul being in Vince Vaughn's body, because she had the guy's strength to kind of like overcome some problems. It was an interesting switcheroo, and the goal is to try to get their souls re-switched back before a certain time using that same dagger before midnight or something. Otherwise, everything turns into a pumpkin and they're stuck in those bodies forever. I went into this knowing it was going to be one of those kind of films. I didn't expect it to be deep. I didn't think Conjuring. I didn't think anything like that. I said to myself, okay, this looks like it's going to be funny, and it looks like it's going to be just one of those movies that you got to take with a grain of salt. Otherwise, you'll be walking out of there saying how it sucked, right? Because there's so many people out there that have a high standard of film, and they go into a theater wanting to see a movie like this, and they want to get the meaning of life or something out of it. I'm like, no, this is a fun movie. It was a fun watch. I enjoyed it. I loved, again, the kills. The kills were creative. They were like, OMG, this is some serious crap they put on there. Yeah, man, it was good. It was good. And it definitely gave that Friday the 13th vibe, especially the mask that the serial killer was wearing. This was pre-Soul Switch. The mask, it was its own kind of mask, but it reminded me so much of Jason's hockey mask, even though it wasn't a hockey mask. I don't know what that mask was made of, but I wouldn't be surprised if I see that mask on people's faces next Halloween, for trick or treat or whatever, and they want to like walk around with that mask and a knife, or the Aztec knife. That would be hot. I would like, yeah, that looks like we got a new mask killer, to join the ranks, right? But this doesn't look like it's going to be that kind of a movie that's going to like give birth to a franchise, the way Friday the 13th, the way Halloween, the way Nightmare on Elm Street, the way Hellraiser did. It's not that kind of a film. I think this is a one-hit wonder, and it was an okay hit. I'm going to give Freaky 3 coffee cups. It was fun. Had a good time. It was a good movie experience. I missed the movie experience. I don't go often. Because of the current state of affairs right now in our world. But when I do go, and this is the first horror movie I've actually seen in the theater since the beginning of the year. Since I think the last one I saw was The Invisible Man, which I did a review of. It was a good movie. It's fun. If you want to just like kick your feet up and check it out, or just wait for it to come on video for demand because, you think you might not feel safe enough in the theater, which I'll totally respect, then, catch it on video on demand when it's available. It might be available now for all I know. I have no clue. This movie had just come out a couple of weeks ago or so, I would have no idea. So, go check it out. There it is. That's my review of Freaky. Still think the title should have been different. I don't know. I'm not good at name calling things, so maybe you can comment below, talk to me, let me know what you would have called it if Freaky doesn't land well with you either. In the meantime, until next time, this is Ralph Perez, Horror and Coffee. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit that like button and hit that bell button, okay, so you can be notified for future content. We're nearing 2020's end, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see moving on. I got some stuff planned, so stay tuned, all right? Tap on that bell button. You'll see what I mean. Ralph Perez, Horror and Coffee. Take care.